Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm Ryan Thomas. I'm your host, once again, bringing you another edition of the Thomas Take. Very excited to get started off with today's show, talking about the Buffalo Bills and the salary cap issues that the Buffalo Bills could be facing heading towards this season. Today I'm going to dedicate my show to a fan question. That fan is Samuel White. He asked me about the Buffalo Bills secondary. He tuned in to the show last night where I talked extensively about Mike Williams possibly being a draft pick selection for the Buffalo Bills. Next, or this coming draft, I should say. I wanted to dedicate this part, though, to the salary cap questions that are facing the Buffalo Bills, because basically the way I see it, with the amount of money that the Buffalo Bills have, that will dictate the pace of their offseason. What will they be able to do? That dictates the decisions that they'll be forced to make. It's all in comparison to the amount of money they have, that the structure of the salary cap will determine the decisions that they make from here on out. And they have quite a few daunting decisions heading into the 2017 offseason, heading into this March with free agency, heading into the draft especially. So let's get started. The Buffalo Bills have 49 players under contract. 30 for next season, 34 of which will be free agents. 23 of those 34 will be unrestricted free agents in March. Names that include Robert Woods, Stephon Gilmore, and Zach Brown. The salary cap for the 2017 season for the National Football League is estimated to be between $166 and $170 million. Last season, for the 2016 season, the salary cap was $155 million, $3 million total. Last season was $155 million. Let's just assume that it is $170 million for this upcoming season. Earlier in the season, they dropped Jerome Felton only to re-sign him back again. Jerome Felton, releasing him, caused $1.3 million in dead money that the Bills had to eat. That will increase as the season goes on. It won't increase because they release Jerome Felton. It'll increase because if they release more players, that could cause potentially more dead money issues towards the team. So, that being said, that is a problem, obviously. They have a lot of daunting decisions to make. One of those decisions is obviously Tyrod Taylor. Another one of those decisions is obviously Stephon Gilmore. Do they franchise tag Stephon Gilmore? Do they re-sign him? Do they not bring him back? Do they not bring back Tyrod Taylor? If they do decide to bring back Tyrod Taylor, that counts towards $15.9 million of their salary cap. If they decide to let him go and test the free agency market, Tyrod saves the Bills $13.06 million with a dead money cap of $2.85 million. Another option for the Bills is that 34-year-old center Eric Wood could restructure his contract once again. If not, Eric Wood will count $7.58 million towards the salary cap. If they cut him, they will save $8 million, and they will pay $1.5 million in dead money. Corey Graham is scheduled to count $5.65 million towards their salary cap. Marcus Easley, Dan Carpenter, and Nikel Roby could also be likely roster cuts for the Buffalo Bills that would save them some money there as well. In terms of what is called rollover money, each team has a certain amount of rollover money that rolls over from year 2016 to 2017 in this case. And the Buffalo Bills will have only $2.83 million in rollover money from 2016 to 2017. That is one of the lowest amounts in the National Football League. And that's an amount that will virtually have no bearing on the decisions that they make for this offseason. To look at it in the broad spectrum, as far as what do the Buffalo Bills have to work with, who are the highest paid players on the team. Buffalo has 8 players with a 2017 salary cap hit higher than $7 million. One of those players is obviously Eric Wood. But the 3 highest paid players on the Buffalo Bills for the 2017 season would be Marcel Darius at $16.4 million. If they decided to keep Tyrod Taylor, he would be at $15.9 million. And if they, obviously they're going to be keeping Cordy Glenn, he's under contract. Tyrod would be $15.9. Cordy Glenn would be $14.2. So 3 of their highest paid players in Marcel Darius at $16.4, Tyrod Taylor at $15.9, and Cordy Glenn at $14.2 account for 10% of their cap. 10%. The Bills have $24 million to spend on 41 players all in all. Drafting is essential to the situation that the Bills will enter the 2017 season, and this is yet another reason, a major reason, why I have been such a huge critic of Doug Whaley as a GM. What he has done to their cap, what he has done to tie their hands, so to speak, heading into the 2017 season. It's a very bleak situation. It's a situation that I don't expect to get better, and it's a situation that I think will allow the Buffalo Bills to have another playoff-less season heading into 2017 by the end of 2017. So let's talk about the money that they could save if they do decide to keep, or if they decide to let go of Tyrod Taylor, Eric Wood, and Corey Graham. Obviously, for Tyrod Taylor, I talked about that. That's around $13.8 million. Eric Wood, letting go of Eric Wood would be $6.8 million, and letting go of Corey Graham would be around $5.6 million. So between Taylor, Wood, and Graham, they would save upwards of $25 million deciding to cut those 3 players. And it could be very easily argued that they should cut those 3 players. Tyrod Taylor hasn't necessarily proved himself essentially as a franchise quarterback so far. Eric Wood has had nagging leg injuries. He's tore his ACL not once but twice, heading into his 34-year season, year 34 years old. And Corey Graham is a 33-year-old safety that would save the Bills $5.6 million if they decided to keep him. Obviously, Stephon Gilmore deciding not to keep him would save the Bills money as well, upwards of $15 million, being that is what Stephon Gilmore is asking for heading into the 2017 season. The future does not look bright. They failed to get meaningful production out of the last probably 3-4 draft classes, maybe even 5 or 6 draft classes, getting really 2, maybe 1 solid player from each draft. And if they want to dip their toes in the free agent waters to fix any of these needs based on what they decide to do, it will allow them to have to overpay, because typically that is what happens in free agency. It's a supply and demand business, and it's a constant raising and due to the constant raising of the salary cap, the money that is demanded constantly goes up. And we saw that last year with Brock Osweiler getting $18 million, and he hadn't even met the Houston Texans organization yet. So that is the situation. That is inside the cap of the Buffalo Bills. The fact that Eric Wood had already restructured his contract last year, and the fact that he is counting towards $7.58 million of their cap space, I don't know how much of a restructure they did between the Buffalo Bills and Eric Wood, but I think that is way, way too much money to pay for a 34-year-old center. It's a very interesting situation, one that I plan on monitoring quite extensively over the course of the offseason. During the offseason, there is also a rule of 51. It applies to every team in the NFL, meaning that of the 90 players that a team can carry, only the top 51 contracts count against the salary cap. So when the Bills sign a free agent or a draft pick, one of the lower-priced players on the roster gets erased from the accounting books. That is a very good thing. But the fact that the Bills have been very piss poor, so to speak, in terms of their drafting this season more than any, they really need to hit on virtually every pick, being that the collective bargaining agreement allows rookies to get paid at a very minuscule rate. The Dallas Cowboys are taking advantage of that with their franchise quarterback now, Dak Prescott, making around $500,000, $600,000, and Ezekiel Elliott on a rookie wage scale contract. So the Bills need to hit on every draft pick this year, proving that they have yet to so far, and Doug Whaley has really put them in a terrible cap situation, being that there are so many make-or-break decisions that will take up the majority of their salary cap. As it stands right now, as I said, 3 of their highest-paid players make up of 10% of their salary cap. Marcel Darius, a guy that has shown greatness as a defensive tackle, but has shown a lack of motivation, has shown a lack of character in his tenure with the Buffalo Bills. Tyrod Taylor, obviously the huge question mark. He remains a huge question as to whether he could be the franchise quarterback that has long eluded the Buffalo Bills for the last 20 years. And the Cordy Glenn, the left tackle, obviously they re-signed him last season. He's a guy that has played pretty well, but he has had injuries in the past. Cyrus Kouandjio took his spot at left tackle, the former second-round pick, and he played pretty well. There were rumblings that Cyrus Kouandjio was a bust, but he came in and played very well in the wake of Cordy Glenn's injury. Some are saying that maybe Cordy Glenn will move to right tackle and Cyrus Kouandjio will move to left tackle. That just proves that Cordy Glenn should not have been paid like a top dollar left tackle when essentially he might not even be a left tackle next season. So hopefully this provided some clarity as far as the salary cap situation that will be ahead for the Buffalo Bills this offseason. It is one that when I did the research on it, when I looked up all this rules and information of the 51 rule and the 3 players that make up 10% of the Buffalo Bills salary cap, it just caused me even more so to scratch my head at the moves that Doug Whaley has made over the course of his career and what is on the docket for the future of the salary cap. Sammy Watkins is a guy that is going to be a free agent soon. He's coming towards the end of his rookie contract. What will the Buffalo Bills do with Sammy Watkins? There's going to be a lot of question marks that will handicap this team from being competitive in 2017, and they really need to hit on this 2017 draft, being that they did not have a first-round draft choice in 2015, being that their 2016 draft choice did not play half a season, being that their second-round draft choice did not play all season last year. So that was the Buffalo Bills inside the cap for 2017. Hopefully I provided some clarity on the cap situation. Now for part 2 of today's show, I'm going to go into what makes sense for the Buffalo Bills. Should they decide to keep Stephon Gilmore? Should they decide to keep Tyrod Taylor? Tune in, part 2 coming right up.